This is episode 55 of Pinnacle FC. Gareth Wheeler, Jake Osgathorpe with you with midweek action. We moved this podcast a little bit later on the week. I know you've missed us so terribly. So we're back at it this week, looking into the weekend that will be across the Premier League, La Liga, Serie A, and the Bundesliga. How are you, Jake? How did your week go? Everything good?
Yeah, good. No complaints. Could have done with a few more winners, but other than that, it seems to be a strange part of the season where the bookies they've sort of clamped down on the initial edge. So we've got to find a new edge. We've got to find a new angle of attack as we start to get a feel for what teams are actually like. So yeah, difficult part of the season, but also fun to try and crack the code.
Well, at the very least, you in our head-to-head, you came away with a half win. As
Woo!
Aston Villa, for whatever reason, still looks subpar against 10 men Sunderland and could just put one past him. The spread, the total was at 2.25. It finished on 2. So I'll give you a half win on the head-to-head if that makes you feel any better.
Yeah, it was never in doubt, really, was it? I mean, whenever we go head to head, it always ends one way. So
What's wrong with Aston Villa? We'll get into it. They play Fulham this weekend. That might be one of the picks that we deal with. On each and every episode, we have 5 units to play with, and we're allowed to make up to 5 bets. So I'm still up a couple units. Jake's down a couple units. Follow along on the Pinnacle socials for your updates. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and please try to support this podcast. And we do the best for you each and every week. Follow along on Twitter, x.com/Pinnacle, and join the Reddit community, reddit.com/Pinnacle Sportsbook. You get the latest markets, betting insights, direct access to the Pinnacle team, and much, much more. With that being said, let's dive in. We do have Champions League action next week to, at the very least, keep in mind with the fixture list for this weekend. As we do in the podcast every week, let's start off in the Premier League. Another weekend where Arsenal and City play to a draw. Another week where Liverpool, not all that convincing, but come away with another win. What did Manchester United do last week? I don't have time for this because we got to get into our picks and our plays. With the board this weekend, what are you looking at? What jumps off the page for you, Jake?
Well, I think we should start with Chelsea Brighton and take the goal line over 3 at plus 100. It's a pretty straightforward play. We've started to see Brighton games be more high scoring as the season's gone on, and Chelsea themselves have been very high scoring as well, which came as a bit of a surprise to me. Back in the last season, I was backing unders in Chelsea games because they were so tight, but they are a little bit more wide open here. They've just one of the last 5 hasn't gone 3 goals at least, and the line's set at 3. So if there's a 3 goals, then we get a push. Any more than that, we get a winner. And last season, the head-to-heads were high scoring between these two. They played 3 times. There were 6 goals in the first meeting, 3 goals in both of the matches at the Amex. All of Brighton's last 5 matches have seen at least 3 goals too. So I'm quite confident that we'll see at least 3 goals at Stamford Bridge with 2 teams that play attacking football but do look vulnerable defensively. And who knows? Robert Sanchez getting suspended might be a blessing for Chelsea. It might make them more solid, but somehow doubt it, having watched their second string goalkeeper.
Well, Cole Palmer not fit either. I looked at that Chelsea side, despite the early sending off at Old Trafford last weekend. There's just something that's not convincing. I heard Jamie Carragher go on about the center backs and defensive unit. I understood what he means just in terms of the personnel. Nothing kind of blows you away, but it's Maresca ball. It's the sum of their parts, which makes them a tricky team for me to bet for or against at this point. Like it's a stay away. I initially looked at Brighton on the handicap. You're getting 3/4 of a goal, but it's pushed out to minus 113. I just don't think there's a whole lot of value there, but that would be my bet. That would be my play to back Brighton to keep it close, but nothing really confident. I will say this weekend in the Premier League, there's just about 1 or 2 games that catch my eye. The Premier League's a very difficult slate this weekend, so don't feel like you have to make plays when the markets don't give you the number that you want. quite frankly, the best value this week, I just look at it, it's La Liga, like all over the board. I'm considering making 5 plays from La Liga this week. So considering, I don't know, there might be one preferable play from the Premier League. I'll see if you deliver that play. But what else? I mean, Crystal Palace and Liverpool in a rematch of the Shield to kick off the season, where Crystal Palace looked, so convincing in that game. They've changed a bit. That's a really good game on Saturday, mid-afternoon fixture. Does anything there catch your eye, Jake? Because Liverpool, a perfect start to the season, but the actual play, it hasn't been that great, in fairness. Ekitike is suspended for this weekend after, I don't know, these yellows for celebrating when a player's already on one. It just, something doesn't sit right there for me. But is there anything there between Palace and Liverpool, which should be a really good game this weekend?
Not for me. I think the market's just about right, and if anything, it's moving a little bit too much towards Palace. I think Palace opened up about plus 320. They have shortened quite a bit now, plus 288. I wouldn't put any, at the initial price, I would have been all over Palace because they're on a fantastic unbeaten run. They're a very difficult team to break down. And Liverpool, they've scored, 6 of their 7 games have been decided by them scoring after the 80th minute. So they've left it very late in all bar one. And yeah, I that fine margin, winning by a single goal, it's not going to be sustainable, but you would have to imagine that the process is going to improve. So it's just when that happens, if that happens, it's more when I think it clicks together, and that's when you want to ride Liverpool. But yeah, for now, I'm just going to leave this one alone. I was initially looking at Palace on the handicap, but that's a little bit too short for me now.
Exact same thing. I mean, Crystal Palace are second best in expected point total, courtesy of Understat, in the Premier League, and Liverpool plays Galatasaray on Tuesday in Turkey. Like, that's a quick turnaround, but I think that you nailed it. Like, the market is kind of adjusted for that. So at this point where we're at on a Thursday morning where I am, it's just not a bettable range for me. If the line moves in Liverpool's favor, which I highly doubt it for said reasons, then I'll jump on and make a Crystal Palace play. But at this number, nothing excites me. The other marquee fixture of the weekend is Newcastle and Arsenal, and that game is played on Sunday. Arsenal in these games where they played bigger opponents. I even include Manchester United only by club name and stature, not necessarily by team. They played very safe, and they could maybe potentially do it again as they go up to St. James's Park this weekend. That makes this game very tricky. I know that you made a very pro-Arsenal play against Man City, but the way they play against the so-called better clubs just puts them in no bet range for me at this point. Like, I think they'll go out and smash the weaker, even mid-table sides in the Premier League. But when they play a decent enough team, especially in a difficult spot away from home, I just have very little faith at this point. Like, I don't think they'll lose the game. I think that their approach is a point is enough, which isn't enough for, people that are trying to look at the market and make a good play, because I would say Arsenal's the better side. That's the side I want to be on, but I just can't get there. Is that what you've kind of learned through this early section of the season, Jake? Just Arsenal against these so-called bigger opponents just can't be trusted.
Yeah, and you can't. I don't think we can trust them reliably to win. Like you said, you're pretty reliable, consistent in that they're not going to lose. But that's ultimately down to the manager and his setup. I mean, when that team news came out last week, it's like we've got to watch Trossard, we've got to watch Marino. It's like, what about Eze? Get him on the pitch, give him some minutes, let him make the difference. And he just, as soon as those big teams see that team sheet, it's almost like mindset. It's like, oh, they're a bit scared of us. He's playing a little bit safer because they're worried about us, whereas it needs to be the other way around. And yeah, I think it's going to be the same again this weekend. But I've got to say, like, the furore around how this is going to potentially affect them winning the title, like, I agree and disagree to a certain extent, because you do want to see them just grab it by grab the bull by the horns and really take it, really, really drive home the fact that they are potential title winners. But at the same time, like, draws against good teams aren't the worst results. So if they go up to St James's Park, get a draw, I know Liverpool went up there and won, but they were comfortably outplayed by 10 men. They were very fortunate. If they keep doing what they're doing, I don't think they'll be a million miles away. Having said that, I'm not going to be backing them. Like you said, it's just, for whatever reason, last season, Eddie Howe had Mikel Arteta's number. They played 4 times. Newcastle won 3 of them. But just a really weird quirk of this head-to-head. Only one of the last 16 meetings between Arsenal and Newcastle has seen both teams score. So both teams to score no has landed in 15 of the last 16 meetings.
Wow.
And I think, I mean, that obviously historically it spans over a number of different managers, a number of different players. But like, you only have to look at the records this season. I mean, Newcastle have kept 4 clean sheets in 5 league games. No side has allowed fewer expected goals than Newcastle. And Arsenal are second best in that metric. And both teams to score no has clicked in 4 of their 5 as well. So I think they've just got to back a repeat. Both teams seem to be playing by fine margins. Both looking to build from the back. And both sides have had tough schedules as well to kind of balance off that. They are really good defensively because they've played some good attacking teams. I mean, Newcastle and Villa aren't really a good attacking team right now, but at the time we thought, oh, Villa away is tricky. You know, they went there, kept a clean sheet, limited Liverpool to very little, same at Bournemouth, and Arsenal have done the same. So, yeah, I think we just got to oppose goals. I mean, both teams scored no's at plus 106. The goal line's at 2.25. That's plus 107. I would even be tempted to take Newcastle plus 107 on the handicap as well. It's a quarter of a goal because I do think the way in which Newcastle set up are very similar to Arsenal. They're like an Arsenal light in the sense that they're very powerful, very physical. But you look at them and you just wonder, are they going to score enough goals at this moment in time? You know, without Isak and Baltimore just trying to get settled in. So yeah, I'll be taking a pro Newcastle play and both teams to score no. Where obviously if it's 1-0, 0-0. I honestly think the 0-0's a massive runner. Newcastle have played 3 0-0s already.
What does that play at?
It's a good question. I didn't check the price. But,
well, I'll bring it. I'll bring it up. But here we go. Might as well just look this up.
Neither team to score plus 10.25.
There you go.
I think that's worth like a quarter of a unit or something. Just as a little something.
Are you going to put it on your board this week?
I could take a very big swing. Yeah.
Wow.
But the longer the game goes on, the more that you think that the nil-nil's got a great chance. If you get to like 75, I think both teams will look at each other and go,
I like a number of different ways to approach this game from Jake Osgathorpe, including a big hitter. I'll be cheering. I'll be backing the goalless draw this week, just for your sake, more so than anything.
Cue the first minute goal.
Yeah, a 5-4 thriller.
Yeah.
What else, if anything, has caught your eye in the Premier League? Like I said, it's a light week for me in the Prem.
Yeah. Like I say, it's the same for me. I only had 4 plays. I've gone through 2 already. The other 2 are taking outsiders, underdogs. Sunderland and Nottingham Forest, I think we've got to back them on the handicap. They're getting 3/4 of a goal head start.
You're jumping on my train. They were really good against Villa last weekend, and I kept a keen eye based upon our head-to-head play. 10 men, they completely outplayed Villa.
Yeah.
But I just my only reservation, and I've been fading Forest since the managerial change. It's worked out decently well for me. But playing away from home for Sunderland might be a little bit of a different outcome. No? You don't think so?
Well, they went to Palace and nullified Palace for a 0-0 draw. I think they could do the same. And I don't forget, Forest played midweek as well. They played away in Betis. Agonising late equaliser as well. They were comfortably the better team in that game and ended up drawing 2-2. But yeah, Sunderland, it has to be said, their process has been so solid. They've conceded just 1.1 expected goals per game this season, which is got to be commended. I mean, they've done a great job at keeping teams out. And Forest looks very, very poor.
It's been refreshing that you have 3 teams that were promoted and none of them are garbage. Like Leeds, it's been a bit of a struggle, but I don't think that they're necessarily like an awful team like the last couple seasons with the promoted sides. Like this is different. There's ways to approach their games from a market perspective where you can find value actually backing them. How many times were we able to say that last season about the dross that was down there? It was awful.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll be taking Sunderland, and I'll also be taking Fulham because I'm just going to keep hammering
Yeah.
this anti-Villa agenda because their performances have been really bad. There's a couple like I said last week. They've been really poor. So um, they couldn't put away Sunderland. They created just zero point 0.3 expected goals after conceding the equaliser against 10 men. Just 0.76 per game this season, which is really bad. And it's also worth remembering how they fared post Europe last season during this league phase. Before they had the January reinforcement. So they won one, which was the very first game against Wolves, and then drew three, lost four of the matches that followed the Champions League phase. They obviously play on Thursday night. They play against Bologna. We're recording this Thursday. We don't know the result of that. But if anything, that tells us the short turnaround doesn't fare too well. And it's even shorter now for Emery, Thursday to Sunday. And then Fulham, good. They're just a good team. Very good team. They had the disappointment and frustration at Chelsea where they had a goal unfairly ruled out. PGMOL came out and actually said, yep, we made that one. That was a wrong decision. Absolutely aggrieved about that, which would obviously have put them 1-0 up with a great chance of getting something. But away from home last season, just in general against the good sides, they avoided defeat in 10 of the 18 against top half sides. And I think they're in a good spot to get a positive result. And I think backing them on the handicap. So yeah. The line is you're getting a quarter of a goal at -110. I'll take that. Thank you very much. I would also wouldn't put anybody off taking them +0, so the draw no better, +142. And just a big swing at Fulham to win at +247, because we saw at the start of last season, I think that their away form against good teams tailed off at the back end of the campaign, but they went to difficult places and won. I remember them going to Chelsea last season and winning. They nearly beat Liverpool as well. So they're a very good away side, and Villa just aren't themselves right now.
Yeah. Fulham on the handicap will be a play for all said reasons. You mentioned it. Bologna on Thursday after, as well. And, playing in different competitions. You mentioned it. The Europa League, it's going to be difficult for Villa, and they've just not looked themselves at all. Best play from the Premier League for me. What am I missing here? Bournemouth is being pushed out to +154 to win away at Leeds United. What am I missing? Because Bournemouth is a really good team. Like, the way that they play, the process, they're playing Leeds. I don't care where they're playing this game. They still struggle to create, still struggle to score goals. I don't think their process is necessarily bad, but the end result hasn't been great, and you can back the better side. Like, I thought that this would be closer to, like, even money, but it's +154. Last night when I checked, it was +144. So money's coming in, backing the home side. I just don't quite get this, Jake. I think Bournemouth can play with just about anyone in the Premier League. This is the one Premier League game that's making my board this week. Bournemouth 3-1-1 on the season. Their expected point total is excellent as well. It's actually best in the Premier League at 9.98. Leeds right near the bottom at 5.8. Like, I don't know. I might be missing something. I'm checking the injury report. There's nothing that stands out. Lewis Cook is missing out, but I really don't understand why there's been a significant line shift here. Do you have any explanation?
No, I think it's probably just down to the fact that Leeds have looked very solid defensively, and I wouldn't be surprised to see another 0-0 here, to be honest. They drew 0-0 with Newcastle in the last home game. The game with Everton was going to be 0-0 before a late penalty. And Bournemouth, obviously, coming off the back of a 0-0, they struggled to create anything against Newcastle. So I think the 0-0 and the low-scoring draw is a real runner, because I just think Leeds are going to be in a spot where they don't need to win. Just a draw would be a great result for them. So that might be why. And it might just be stylistic as well. Like, Leeds, quite a big side. They're more than happy to play direct, have to play through the thirds, and that will negate the press a little bit. And it might mean that Bournemouth actually have to try and break them down, which they don't like doing. They like winning the ball high up and then doing the business. So
I still think at this number it's like a must play, to be honest with you. Just I get all that, but I'm gonna absolutely make that play. Apologies for any of you watching on YouTube. I just had to adjust. It was very awkward on camera. I'm doing this from a hotel in London, Ontario. I called my first curling match this week. You a big curling guy?
No, never
No.
watched it.
There you go. What? GBR, I mean, Great Britain
Oh,
is
the
great in the
on the ice,
Olympics. On the
curling, that
ice,
one.
curling.
Yeah. Oh, I
Yeah.
got mixed up with hurling. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
curling. So,
curling.
yeah,
Yeah, I've
yeah,
watched that. Yeah.
life on the road. I'd also consider, and just the number isn't where I'd want it. Um, West Ham is at Goodison Park to take on Everton on Monday. Both teams to score at minus 108 is a very tempting play for me. West Ham give away goals for fun. This is an Everton side that's done a nice enough job creating. I think that they're a regular goal threat. Um, and it's just a matter of West Ham being able to score a goal. Still, Tarkowski's not back yet. I mean, Michael Keane serviceable, but just nothing assured there. I'm going to watch that number and I'll consider making a both teams to score a play on Monday night. And that's it for the Premier League this week for me. Anything else for you?
No,
Nope.
let's move on.
Let's move on to the moneymaker of the week, otherwise known as La Liga. By the way, there were midweek fixtures, and I bet on the two things that I love to bet on in La Liga. It's my new Napoli win to know. I bet Mallorca not to score. It finally cashed. It finally played. Followed the numbers. They lost 1-0 at Sociedad. And the total for Atletico Madrid and Vallecano was 2.25. They smashed it. There were 5 goals in that game. Those were both automatic plays. So that was a nice way to get some midweek action in. So now we look ahead to the weekend, and this is a juicy slate of games. Are you as excited about La Liga this weekend as I am?
I don't think so. No, I've never seen you so pumped. I'll be honest.
About La Liga, it's Serie A, yes, but La Liga this weekend. Okay, let's get to it. Girona is a really bad team. Like they're
Oh
not
yeah,
even just kind of bad. Like they're really bad, right near the bottom of the table in expected points. They take on Espanyol. You can back Espanyol on the handicap. I'll move it to the Asian handicap. So a draw no bet. You put it at 0 at plus 115. Espanyol has been coming away with results. Their process has been one of the best teams in La Liga this season. Verona has lost every game they played at home. They're smashed by Levante. They've been really bad at home. I'm emphasizing that. So the Friday night fixture, I would back Espanyol on the Asian handicap at 0 at plus 115. It's Madrid derby this weekend. Atletico Madrid, Real Madrid. Any thoughts there, Jake?
back Real Madrid. Straightforward for me. Atletico Madrid. I'm not buying into that win at all in midweek. Pure panic stations. Obviously had a shocking result last week as well. Like they are really struggling to start the season. And Real Madrid just look a model of consistency.
Well, that's it. They both have Champions League fixtures on tap as well. I'm going to go for a little bit more juice here because I agree with you. Real Madrid win. But add over the total of 2.5 at plus 251. Atletico Madrid can score goals. I keep on saying this. Like Alvarez scored a hat trick. They're a much different team than they have been in the past. Real Madrid in over 2.5 goals in this game. It plays at plus 251. Also, Real Madrid played Tuesday. Atletico Madrid played Wednesday. Head to head, Real Madrid haven't kept a clean sheet against Atletico Madrid in their last 12 meetings, and both teams to score has played in 9 of 10. Overall, Real Madrid 8 wins. They've gone the over in 5 of 6. Both teams to score has played in 4 of 5. And they've given up a 6.91 expected goals against. One of those games they played with a man down against Sociedad, but still not a great number. And huge expected goals in their last game against Levante. They won 4-1. They had a 4.06 XG, but Levante had a 1.7. Meanwhile, Atletico Madrid can't keep a clean sheet. Both teams' scorers played in their games of 6 and 6 of 7. They have the 4th best expected goals, but they've given up 7 and 6 already. The 3-2 win over Vallecano, just like Real Madrid's most recent result, the XG was huge. They had a 4.95 to 1.62 in that game. So the overs, back Real Madrid, I think that's a great combination. This is absolutely making my board at plus 251. That's a nice old number. Do you want to jump on that train as well, Jake?
I don't mind it at all. Yeah, I think we've seen Atletico Madrid. just not as defensively secure as they used to be. And it probably comes while they're trying to find that balancing act to be more entertaining. So, I think Real Madrid are going to score a couple at least here. And I wouldn't be surprised if they went there 1-3-0 or something like that and the bet click that way.
Yep. Let's keep this going. Let's run the Mallorca failed to score train. It's way out. Mallorca failed to score at home against Alaves is at plus 207. Like generally it's been the plus 20, 120, plus 130, even plus 140 range. Mallorca not to score a plus 207. Cha-ching, let's go. That's like an automatic play for me. Vallecano, I just mentioned what they played against Atletico Madrid. Their total for their game against Sevilla, for some reason, is set at 2.25. Again, something I don't really understand as well. If you look at the goal output from both of these teams, it's big. And it's backed up by the expected goals and the expected goals against as well. Just bringing up the numbers, Vallecano have 7 scored, 9 conceded in those 6 games, but their expected goals, over 2.5 more expected goals than goals scored. Expected goals against, 12.47 is the second most in La Liga. Meanwhile, they're taking on a team in Sevilla. They've scored 10, conceded 10 as well, and a team that needs to think that they're a little bit desperate and they need to string together a good run of results as they continue to languish mid to lower table. So 2.25 seems really low for me for two teams that both score and concede lots of goals. And the gift that keeps on giving, Valencia at home. This is a Monday night game. They're an excellent home side. 3 wins from 3 to start the season. They take on Real Oviedo. The only team based upon the metrics that's been worse than them is Girona on the season. Oviedo, the promoted side. Good luck. Take Valencia on the handicap at 3/4 of a goal. They are cash money at home at minus 109. So yeah, I like all of those bets, and I have no problem making each and every one of them. So, and I will. So there you go. Anything from you from La Liga?
No, not that you've not already mentioned. I'm also on Espanyol to beat Girona because, like you said, Girona have been bad, but they've not just been bad this season; they've been bad since the start of the calendar year. So they've actually been the worst of all existing La Liga teams since the turn of the year. They've lost 16 of 26 league games, an average 1 expected goal for and 2 expected goals against per game. That's relegation worthy process. So you basically, would you have a relegation team which is such a short favourite against what looks like to be a very comfortable mid-table team? Probably not. So yeah, I'm all over Espanyol as well.
I think they have a 16.18 expected goals against and haven't won a game. They've conceded 16 goals on this. Like, wow. Yeah. Okay.
And Espanyol have been very good in attack as well, has to be said. They're generating nearly 2 XG per game,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one looks to be a must play for some Friday night football. If you have nothing else, I just shared my love for La Liga this week. Serie A this weekend, the big marquee fixture is top of the table AC Milan taking on Napoli. Hold on. Napoli's top of the table. I mean, it's a top of the table clash. That's why I wrote my notes here. Milan, other than the first game of the year, have looked good. 3 wins and a draw. Napoli, a perfect start to the season. Although they were tested by Pisa on Monday, it was a 3-2 grinded out type of game. That's fine. They're still top of the table. Milan just 3 points back. Actually, they lost their first game of the year. 3 wins, no draws, and a loss for Milan. It's being played at the San Siro. You can get some value on Napoli if you want to back them here. Have AC Milan turned the corner? I guess that's the big question heading into this one.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have been the best team in the league this season based on the underlying process. The most expected points, but also they're just absolutely dominant in every single game they've played. They've conceded just 1.3 expected goals in 4 league games. Now, obviously, they haven't been tested. The schedule's been fairly kind. If you I think that's probably one of the easiest ones in the league so far. And you could say the same for Napoli as well, but that performance against Pisa was slightly concerning in the way in which they were opened up quite easily. And they probably have one eye on a Champions League game as well in midweek because they lost their opener. So maybe something there. I definitely would be more favouring AC Milan than Napoli, but I do think the price is a little bit too short on Milan, so I won't be making a play.
No, me neither. I was tempted by backing Napoli on the Asian handicap at 0, at plus 123. I think this one could very well end in the draw. I'm not sure if it's worth the risk making that play. It's tempting. I'll see what the markets do. The only other game that caught my eyes because how bad Lecce is. I know they're playing at home. Bologna plays Europa League against Aston Villa on Thursday, but you can back Bologna the wayside at plus 108. So that's it. I love my Serie A, but that's all this weekend. Anything for you?
Yeah, Roma versus Verona. I like Roma to win an under 2.5 goals at plus 231. They've been very fine margins this season. All four of the results have been 1-0. They've won 3 of those, lost 1. Verona have generally been fine margin too. 2 1-1 draws, a 0-0, and then they were blown out by Lazio. But Roma's process has just been so un-Gasperini-like. Like they've only averaged 1.2 xG per game. They've conceded just 0.65, so they've been more Mourinho than Gasperini. And you know they won in midweek in Europe, so that's a added bonus. They played Wednesday, so they've had more rest than what they usually would for a Europa League game. And Verona have they've been very good at home. The performances at home have been good, but away performances have been concerning. And I think Roma will win this one comfortably, but not explosively, because ultimately, if they go 1-0 up, 2-0 up, they're going to take the foot off the gas because they've got another Europa League game next Thursday.
Right. Okay. Let's move things forward to the Bundesliga. Whenever there's a spread, when Bayern Munich plays a team that's not one of the promoted teams and it's still sitting at 3, that's where the handicap is, it catches the eye. The question is, does it tempt you enough to oppose Bayern Munich? They take on Werder Bremen. It's plus 3. I just made a note of that. I'm not touching it. I mean, you look into the data and then, or the recent results, and Bayern Munich beat Bremen 3-0 and 5-0 last season. I just need to think Bremen's coming off an embarrassing loss. I believe it was like 3-0 to Freiburg last week. It's like they got to bounce back with some kind of performance, don't they? I mean, is it a big risk? 3-goal handicap? And Bremen's an established enough Bundesliga side. It seems wild. Only in the Bundesliga, right? That's the only way that this could happen.
Literally, yeah. Yeah, I mean, even when Man City play against, Werder are kind of mid to bottom table. If Man City played against, I don't know, Everton, you wouldn't have Man City as a 3-goal head start. Yeah, you'd be looking at 1.5, maybe 1.75. But I'm kind of taking a leaf out of your book, and I think that both teams have scored no and over 2.5 is value at plus 171, so it's a big price. But Bayern have been so good. I know they've played 2 home games, but 6-0, 5-0, conceded literally nothing, 0.5 xG. And Werder, they failed to score last time out, and their away game on the opening day, they were hammered 4-1 by Frankfurt, but they generated just 0.6 xG. So, and like you said, they won the games last season 3-0 and 5-0. I just wonder if Bayern just keep absolutely thumping teams at home, but actually keeping clean sheets, because they do look more stable defensively than they did last year. So maybe that's Jonathan Tah's has been brought in, and he's kind of the missing link, and he's making that high line work a little bit better. But yeah, I think that plus 171 is quite big. I mean, when you tipped it a couple of weeks ago against Hamburg, it was like plus 130. And I don't know if Werder are that much better than Hamburg to suggest that they're going to get on the score sheet, because that's what I'm betting on, basically. I think Bayern are going to score 3. It's just a case of whether Werder can score.
Yeah, well, that's what the handicap would suggest. That is the Gareth Wheeler play. So, to be honest, I was just drawn to what that line was. I think the spread against Hamburg was like 4. So I do think that Bremen are capable of keeping things a little bit tighter, but that's the essence of this. I mean, when it was 4, that's why you're getting a little bit less juice, because just the numbers, it didn't add up for me. The numbers are kind of right in line, but instead of betting the handicap, you can bet that Bremen won't take a part in that and try to get more juice that way. So, yeah, I like the play. Just a couple of favorites you can back. Borussia Dortmund at Mainz. I've shared my skepticism on Mainz. The play in European football. You can back Dortmund away from home at plus 110. I do think that that's a decent enough number to play. And Freiburg coming off a good result. They're fourth in the expected point table in Bundesliga, taking on Hoffenheim at home, who are right there in the bottom four in that same category. At plus 122, it seems a decent enough play to make as well. That's all that caught my eye. Anything more from you, Jake?
No, I have Freiburg down as well. I think they're a little bit of value, to be honest. Last season, against teams that didn't finish in the top four, they won 9 of 13 at home, which is a pretty good strike rate. And the process was solid as well. 1.75 XG for, 1.3 against. It's a tough place to go. Hoffenheim are conceding a lot of goals recently. They have won both their away matches. First one came at Leverkusen, Erik ten Hag's Leverkusen. That lasted long. And then Union Berlin, but they conceded over 3 expected goals at Union Berlin. And I think that if they do that at Freiburg, then Freiburg will punish them because they're a better side.
Okay, that's the board unless Jake wants to go to Portugal or Turkey or Scotland. And I'm not just talking about vacation because they're all good vacation spots, in fairness. What are you looking at in terms of your plays for this official show plays for this week?
Yeah, I'm going to, given how difficult it is right now with the landscape, I'm just going to keep it 1 unit, 5 plays. There's no fancy I look at and go, right, I want to really get behind this one. I want to sprinkle across 5. So I'm doing Sunderland plus 3/4 of a goal against Forest at minus 118. Fulham plus 1/4 of a goal against Villa at minus 110. Both teams to score no in the Newcastle Arsenal game plus 108. Espanyol plus 1/4 of a goal versus Girona at minus 122, and Freiburg to beat Hoffenheim straight up plus 122.
Brilliant. 1 from England, 4 from Spain. Let's back Bournemouth plus 154 to go to Ellen Road and smash Leeds United. Then 4 from Spain. Same Espanyol play. I'm just going on the Asian handicap at plus 115. It's a 0, so a draw. You get your money back. At the Madrid derby, let's back Real Madrid to win and over 2.5 at a big old number at plus 251. Let's go Vallecano and Sevilla over the total of 2.25 at minus 105, and Valencia at home with some Monday Night Football to beat Oviedo. I'm taking Valencia on the handicap at minus 3/4 of goal at minus 109. 5 plays, just like you, all a unit stake put on the line here. That's it for this week. Remember to hit the like button. Please subscribe to this podcast. Tell your friends we do this each and every week of the European domestic club season. Jake, have a good week. Best of luck this weekend, and hoping that simpler approach provides better outcomes, and no head-to-head this week. So that at the very least means good news for me.
That was the best bit of my weekend last week, just cheering under goals at the Villa. Come on.
Fade Wheelers. Fade wheels. That's it. On behalf of Jake and myself and everyone at Pinnacle, this has been episode 55 of Pinnacle FC.